Sadhu Sukhi Huntu. Okay, we'll start with one small chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavarahang samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu. Anuttaro purisadamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Namo tassa samma sambuddhassa. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko. Ehipasiko apanayiko pachattang veditabbo vinnuhiti. Namo tassa niyanika sadammasa. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sango samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala yesa bhagavato savaka sango ahuneyo pahuneyo dakkineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Namo tassa atta arya puggala maha sangasa. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatiyang viharati jetavane anata pindikassa arame. Tatrako bhagava bhikkhu amantesi bhikkavoti badanteti te bhikkhu. Bhagavato pachasosu bhagavaye tadavocha bhuta pubbang bhikkave devasura sangamo samupabulho ahosi atako bhikkave sakko devanamindo deve tavatimse amantesi sache marisa devanang sangamagatanang uppajjaya bhayang vachambitattang va lomahanso va mameva tasming samaye rajagangulokayata mamang hivo tajagangulokayatang yang bhavisati bhayang vachambitattang va lomahanso va sopahisati Noche me dajagangulokayata ata pajapatissa devarajassa dajagangulokayata pajapatissa hivo devarajassa dajagangulokayatang yang bhavissati bhayang va chambitattang va lomahanso va sopahissati Noche pajapatissa devarajassa dajagangulokayata atha varunassa devarajassa dajagangulokayata varunassa hivo devarajassa dajagangulokayatang Yang bhavisati bhayang vacham vitattang va lomahanso vasopahisati noche varunassa devarajassa dajagangulakayata ata isanassa devarajassa dajagangulakayata isanassa hivo devarajassa dajagangulakayatang yang bhavisati bhayang vacham vitattang va lomahanso vasopahisati ti Tanko panabhikkave sakkasavadhevanamindassa dajaggangulakayatang pajapatisavadhevarajassa dajaggangulakayatang varunassavadhevarajassa dajaggangulakayatang isanassavadhevarajassa dajaggangulakayatang yang bhavissati bhayang vacham vitattang vaso mahamso vaso pahiyeta pinopi pahiyeta tankissahetu Sakko hi bhikkave devanamindo avitarago avitadoso avitamoho biruchambi utrasi palayiti ahanchako bhikkave evang vadami sache tumhakang bhikkave aranyagatanang va rukkamulagatanang va sunyagaragatanang va uppajjaya bhayang va chambitattam va lomahanso va mameva tasming samaye अनुसरय्याथा इतिपिसो भगवारहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरिसदम्मसारथि सत्तादेव मनुस्सानां बुद्धो भगवाति ममं हिवो भिक्कवे अनुसरतं यं भविष्यति भयं वाचं वितत्तं वालो महंसो वासोपहिष्यति नोचे मंग अनुसरय्याथा अथो धम्मं अनुसरय्याथा स्वाकातो भगवता धम्मो संदिट्टिको अकालिको एहिपस्सिको अपनायिको पच्छत्तं वेदितव्यो विन्नुहीति Dhammam hivo bhikkave anusarathang yang bhavissati bhayang vacham vitattang valo mahanso vasopahissati noche dhammang anusarayatha ata sangang anusarayatha supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो समीचिपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो यदिदं चत्तारि पुरिसयुगानि अट्टपुरिसपुग्गला येसा भगवतो सावक संगो आहुनेयो पाहुनेयो दक्किनेयो अंजलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्साति संगं हि वो भिक्कवे अनुसरतं यं भविष्यति भयं वाचं वितत्तं वालो महंसो वासोपहिष्यति तंकिस सहेतु तथागतो हि भिक्कवे अरहं सम्मा संबुद्धो वीतरागो वीतदोषो वीतमोहो अबीरुवच्छम्बी अनुत्रासी अपलायीति इदमवोच भगवा इदं वत्वा सुगतो अथा परंगेतदवोच सत्ता अरण्ये रुक्कमूले वा शून्यागारे व भिक्कवो अनुसरेत संबुद्धं भयं तुमहा तन्नोसिया नोच बुद्धं सरय्याथा लोकजेट्टं नरासभं अथा धम्मं सरय्याथा नियानिकं सुदेशितं नोचदम मंगसरय्याथा नियानिकं सुदेशितं अथा संगं सरय्याथा पुण्यकेतं अनुत्तरं एवं बुद्धं सरन्तानं धम्मं संगं च भिक्खवो भयं वाचं वितत्वं वा लोमहंसो न हसतीति एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सब्बदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रतनत्रयम् सबित्यो विवज्जन्तु सब्बरोगो विनाशतु माथे भवतु अन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु सब्बमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सब्बदेवता सब्बबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सोत्ती भवन्तु ते भवतु सब्बमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सब्बदेवता सब्बधम्मानुभावेन सदा सोत्ती भवन्तु ते भवतु सब्बमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सब्बदेवता सब्बसंगानुभावेन सदा सोत्ती भवन्तु ते साधु साधु साधु. So this chanting that I have chanted, it's called the Jagga Sutta. So why this? It is to induce faith in this approach, in this path, because faith is the beginning to cultivate the mind. If you don't have faith in the path, faith in the technique, faith in the teacher, faith in the say in the setup, in the entire setup, then whatever you do, some hesitation, some doubt, if it is there, then you can't give your 100% in that particular process of learning. So that is the reason why even the Buddhas were supposed to be considered as the most rational beings on this planet. They also insist so much on faith. If you don't have faith, then there is no progress at all. After all, human minds they have their own limitations. No human mind is absolutely perfect. So then if it is perfect, then there is no need of path, then there is no need of cultivation, then there is no need of, say, liberation. So because all human minds have limitations, so the journey starts with some amount of faith, some amount of, say, somebody who is superior to us, his teaching is superior, his teaching has the power to liberate. If that much of faith is not there, then you can't stick on to it, you can't incline to it, you can't give 100% to it. So to stick on, to incline, to give your 100%, if not 100%, at least to lend your ears. If a minimum level of faith is a must. And again, that is what is insisted, that is what is suggested, recommended in Abhidhamma also, that we are going to start now. Faith is always should be balanced with the wisdom, understanding. If wisdom is too much, then you will remain in some kind of over smartness. It may lead to over smartness, and that may lead to some kind of confusion. Even wisdom, when it becomes too much, it leads to confusion. If the faith is also remain at the faith level only. If you don't work on your wisdom, completely faithful, whatever they say or whatever is there, I completely follow that. I surrender to it. I don't use my mind. I don't use my develop my awareness. I don't understand the different faculties of the mind based on faith and based on right thinking, right reasoning. Simply I follow whatever they say. Then again it is one extreme. So the balance of these two extremes, the faith and wisdom, that is the essence, that is the crux of all Buddha's teachings, and especially Abhidhamma highlights that very specifically. How Saddha arises in the mind, how the wisdom arises in the mind, and in this Saddha group, what are all the different mental factors, and in this Panya or this wisdom group, what are all the different mental factors, how to understand them, how to balance them. That is the practical, say, approach to learn Abhidhamma. In Abhidhamma, you should see how to balance the mind because there are so many factors in the mind, how to balance them. That is point number one. Point number two, what are the good factors and bad factors? Just like, say, uh, a scientist or in your household work, you separate a few things from the other things so that knowing that this is what is what, this is what is what. Mm. Buddha gives an example. A butcher, mm, he separates the different parts of an animal and he just exhibits them and he says, this is what is what, this is the price of this part, this is the price of the other part of the body, of this animal body. So that segregation, that separation, knowing the value of each and every part, the same way we should know the value of each and every mental factor. Like we have so many mental factors, good factors, bad factors, and we should know each one of them and we should separate them. That's what, of course, you practiced in your meditation classes also. So the four faculties of the mind. So in each faculty, what is good, what is bad, how to separate them, how to use the good factors to subdue the bad factors, to overcome the bad factors in the mind, mm, to eradicate the bad factors. So that's what you are learning in the uh, meditation classes, to give some theoretical support, an authoritative theoretical support, which is given by Buddha himself in the form of Abhidhamma. So we have started these Abhidhamma classes also, just to make you more clear, more authoritative in this path of mind culture or mind development that you have taken up in your by practicing these different meditations that you have learned in different levels of meditation. It is not like some intellectual, say, some kind of entertainment. So people indulge in Abhidhamma classes just for the sake of intellectual entertainment. That is not the purpose here. Here, the purpose is to establish, reinforce yourself in this meditation practice by having an authoritative backup of this theoretical knowledge of the mind and its different factors, mental factors, so that you will be assured of your path. Yes, I am progressing in the right path. This has the endorsement or support of Buddha's teachings of Abhidhamma. In Abhidhamma, Buddha has endorsed it authoritatively. So that gives more confidence to progress in this path. So with that intention, so we have started these Abhidhamma classes. Of course, this every Sunday 9 to 9:50 class, it is announced as Dhamma and Abhidhamma classes. What is then Dhamma class and what is Abhidhamma class? How this is different from the Dhamma class that you have learned last week, and of course you are going to learn next week. How Abhidhamma is different from Dhamma, that also we should know a little bit. Dhamma is more, say, your your day-to-day behavior, your day-to-day, so how you should behave, what is right, what is wrong, by like your morality, like your metta mind, like your say generosity, like having moral shame and moral fear in doing wrong things, some kind of basic etiquette, basic say discipline one should have, basic manners one should have to deal with the world. That is what is Dhamma. Hmm. Dhamma has different meanings, different connotations, different say meanings in different contexts. But in general, Dhamma is like say your wholesome behavior with the world so that it is good for you and good for the world. That is what is Dhamma, your righteousness, your wholesome behavior, so that it leads to peace and happiness for you and also for the people around you, and of course for the entire world. So that basic behavior, that basic understanding about what is right, what is wrong, what is beneficial, what is not beneficial. So that we are going to learn in the Dhamma classes. And in the Abhidhamma classes, you go a little deeper into your own mind and how these good and bad arise in the mind. How the bad sometimes influences the good and leads to suffering, and how the good influences the bad and leads to happiness. That kind of a deeper understanding about your own mind and the good and bad of your own mind. That is what is Abhidhamma. Hmm? So, how this good and bad arises from the mind itself. That detailed understanding of this Dhamma by penetrating into one's own mind, by understanding one's own mind, that is what is Abhidhamma. Understood the difference between Dhamma and Abhidhamma? Dhamma means like it is somebody has told, intuitively you feel, yes, that's right, that it seems to be good. Practicing Shila, it seems to be good. So that kind of understanding, which is a little superficial, but intuitively you agree with that. That kind of realities, that kind of manners, that kind of righteousness is Dhamma. And by knowing your own mind, how this good and bad arises, and authoritatively, more practically understanding what is right, what is wrong, based on one's own mental factors, understanding one's own mental factors, which requires a little more concentration, which requires little more intelligence to penetrate and to understand one's own mind. Here, actually, Saddha is also required. So, equally, you require intelligence also. Of course, that you have gained, you have developed in your meditation classes. So, using that background that you have learned in the meditation classes about understanding what is right, what is wrong, how the good arises, how the bad arises in the different faculties of the mind. So, we go through this Abhidhamma text. And there are so many verses in this Abhidhamma, and let us understand these different verses given by Buddha, and then we relate these verses with our practical experience that we have gained in our meditation classes, so that you are you can progress in this path very authoritatively, very confidently. Okay. So with this background, with this introduction, now we'll take up one Abhidhamma text, which is considered as, again, the most authoritative text on Abhidhamma all over the world. And it is actually comprehended, it is, say, designed and comprehended by one famous Abhidhammacharya, the teacher of Abhidhamma. He is again from Kanchipuram, some 10 centuries back. Yeah, 10, 12 centuries back. He was in Kanchipuram. His name is Aniruddhacharya. So Aniruddhacharya has composed this, has uh, written this book, a manual of Abhidhamma. Abhidhammatta Sangaho, that is the name of this book in Pali language, Abhidhammatta Sangaho. It has been translated into so many languages all over the world. So many Westerners also, both lay people and monks, they have translated this Abhidhammatta Sangaha as a manual of Abhidhamma. And one Sri Lankan monk, his name is Narada Bante, he has translated this Abhidhammatta Sangaha as a manual of Abhidhamma. So this is the manual of Abhidhamma. So this is our basic text that we are going to have for these Abhidhamma discussions. And of course, we have so many other references also by so many other masters that also we can use now and then to understand some of the, say, uh, say some of the technicalities in this Abhidhamma. But of course, I don't want to make it complicated because our audience, they are from different backgrounds. It's a heterogeneous group. So that this Abhidhamma should be, I'll do my best to make it as simple as possible so that each and every one of you can understand this. And because you are into this meditation also, so you can definitely can understand more authoritatively, more clearly, because you are into this meditation. You have completed level 1, level 2, and also if many of you are practicing regularly, then definitely it will not be difficult. And it is again my responsibility to see that all of you can understand this. Don't worry about its complexity. It is actually very simple, but many people, they have made it very complex. They have made it very difficult. But using some right books and with right explanations, we'll see that it will become very easy. Okay. So now uh, you got some idea about what is Abhidhamma and what is the book that we are going to refer to learn about this Abhidhamma, and um, and what exactly this Abhidhamma, that what are the contents of this Abhidhamma Sangaha, what exactly we are going to learn in this Abhidhamma, what are the chapters, what is the content of this Abhidhamma Sangaha, of this book that we will see. See, Abhidhamma is about knowing the ultimate realities of the life, of the existence. It's called Paramatta Satya, ultimate reality. Dhamma is about conventional truths. Conventional truths means everyday truths. He is boy, he is girl, he is good, he is bad, he is old, he is young. This is tree, this is made up of this kind of this kind of say energy. This is sun, it has some other kind of energy. So in that way, the conventional realities, so what we can see and what we perceive through our five senses, that is what is called conventional reality. But conventional realities always they change. Say this table is there. So there are four legs in this table. If you remove one leg, then it looks like one tripod table. If you remove all the legs, then it looks like one plank, one wooden plank. So now the completely the purpose, the function of the table gone. The table has a different purpose, and this wooden plank has altogether a different purpose. And if you cut it into different pieces, this wooden plank, then it becomes firewood. And after burning it, you'll get charcoal. And again, if you burn the charcoal, it becomes ash. So the table, it can go through several stages of transformation, and it can become ash. And the ash again, it can be used in different purposes. As fertilizer you can use, as even as a toothpaste or tooth powder you can use. So in that way, the complete transformation from the wood, from the table to ash and its different uses. So this is what is the conventional reality. The day-to-day reality is always changing. So it is not permanent, it is not eternal. But the ultimate realities, they're always permanent. They will not change. So whatever we see through our five senses, they always change. So we learn about these conventional realities. That is in Dhamma classes. But these ultimate realities we are going to learn in the Abhidhamma classes. So what are the ultimate realities which will not change? So Buddha has mentioned, has given four ultimate realities. And those four ultimate realities that we are going to learn in detail in this Abhidhamma. So why we have to learn these ultimate realities? What is the need to learn these four ultimate realities? By learning these four ultimate realities, we can understand our own mind, we can understand our own body, we can understand the relation between body and mind. That anyway you are doing in your meditation classes, but you will get some authoritative backup, some endorsement from the lineage of Buddha and his great disciples, great masters like this Aniruddhacharya. So all these people, if they endorse this, then your confidence in this path, it will multiply. So that's what we are going to learn in Abhidhamma about this ultimate realities of the mind and the matter, how the mind works, how to understand these different dimensions, different factors of the mind. Though we are doing little bit in our meditation classes, what else we should know so that our meditation becomes more deepened? So that kind of ultimate realities we are going to learn in Abhidhamma. So what are these four ultimate realities that Buddha talks about in Abhidhamma? The first one that we are going to learn is chitta. Hmm? Chitta means consciousness. So in the meditation classes, you have learned this consciousness. We used to call it as awareness, and we can call it as being mind. Erukata ani em నేర్చుకున్నారు स्पृहता जो तुम लोग सीखा है मेडिटेशन क्लासेस में, वो ही कॉन्शियसनेस है, वो ही अवेयरनेस है, वो ही चित्ता है. That is what is the first ultimate reality that Buddha talks about, that is chitta, the present state of the mind which is open to the present surroundings, the present body, the present mind body complex. A part of the mind is open, is aware, is conscious. So that faculty of the mind, that is what is called chitta. So chitta is your awareness faculty of the mind. So that is considered as the first ultimate reality. So how this chitta forms, what are the different kinds of chitta, what are the different functions of these different kinds of chitta. So all these things we learn in this chapter on chitta, which is the first ultimate reality that one has to learn in this Abhidhamma. And the second ultimate reality is Chetasika. Chetasika means the factor of the mind, the factor of this chitta, the factors of this chitta. So if, for example, to give an example, chitta is like one building, like this room or like this vihara or like your house. Chetasika are the different raw materials that you have used to build this structure, like this vihara or your house. To build that structure, to build your house, you have to use different raw material. Like you have to use ita, bricks you have to use cement, you have to use sand, you have to use plastic, you have to use glass, you have to use what else? Wood, you have to use. All these things, this cement, wood, plastic, glass, bricks, all these things are the raw materials for a building. In the same way, for chitta, there are different kinds of raw materials. They come together and they make chittas. Different buildings, the raw material, the composition may vary a little bit, but generally a few components or few raw material, they're always same for all the buildings. In some buildings, they may use ita, in some buildings, they may use stones. In some buildings, they may use balu, in some buildings, they may use mud, in some buildings, they may use, cement. Some buildings, the glass may be more, in some buildings, wood may be more. So in the same way, in different chittas, the different mental factors, chetasikas, a few of them are common, some of them, they may change little bit here and there. Some changes may be there in different chittas, different chetasikas, they may change. Okay. One more example also I can give. It's just like different vehicles, different kinds of cars are there. These Tata Motors, different kinds of vehicles are there. These Hyundai cars are there, and then these Tesla cars have come. In Tesla, they use electrical energy, and in some vehicles they may use this petrol or diesel. In some gas they may use. In some cars they may have, say, some metal components, even this for steering and maybe the seats also. In some vehicles it may be the plastic, or it may be rubber, or it may be cushion. So basically a few things are common among all kinds of four-wheelers, and a few things will change. The gas, in some vehicles it may be gas, in some vehicles it may be electricity, in some vehicles, in some four-wheelers it may be petrol or diesel. But the four wheels, they are almost same. The engine system, it may be almost same with some small variations. So in the same way, in the different chittas, Almost a few things are common, a few common factors, mental factors are there. Actually, there are such 7 common factors are there in all kinds of chittas. Just like 4 wheels are common in all four-wheelers, the same way in all uh, chittas, minds are consciousness, in all kinds of consciousness, the mental factors, the consciousness factors, 7 are same. And nearly 45 will change from one chitta to other chitta. 7 factors are same, 45 chetasikas will change from one chitta to other chitta. Just like your vehicles, just like your buildings. Some basic things in the building, it's common for all the buildings, but a few things will change from building to building. Some buildings are wooden houses, some buildings are glass houses, some buildings are, uh, say, Ita houses, some buildings are stone houses. But cement, in all the houses, they have to use a little bit of cement. They may have to use a little bit of wood also in all the houses. So in that way, these chittas and chetasikas, the relation between chittas and chetasikas is similar to the relation between the buildings and the building material, or the vehicles and the vehicle spare parts. It is the same relation. So these are the two major ultimate realities that we are going to learn and discuss in the Abhidhamma. Hmm? These chittas, there are again good chittas and bad chittas. Good chittas means the chittas, by cultivating, developing, you derive happiness, you derive wholesomeness, you derive purity, it will lead you to purity. And there are bad chittas. Bad chittas means that will corrupt your mind, that will defile your mind, that will lead to suffering, that will lead to more and more impurity in the mind. So that understanding of what is good chitta, what is bad chitta, how to cultivate good chitta so that we can go towards freedom, liberation, purity, and what is bad chitta, how to understand that, and by curbing it, by controlling it, how we can keep away suffering. So that is the practical application of learning this Abhidhamma, learning about the chittas, learning about these different kinds of minds, different kinds of chittas, different kinds of consciousness. In the same way, there are different kinds of mental factors, chetasikas. There are good mental factors, there are bad mental factors. How the combination of different bad mental factors lead to the formation of bad chitta. It's just like at the root itself, curbing the arising of the bad chitta. If you know how the bad chitta arises, like one bad car, a inefficient car, if you know what are the different spare parts that are used in building this car, if there is some kind of, say, weak spare parts, or some kind of bad quality spare parts, you can avoid those bad quality spare parts so that you can avoid building one bad quality car. In the same way, buildings, if you have used some good quality building material like good cement, good stones, good ita, then you can build a good building, then you can build a good structure. So you should know the building material also, the quality of the building material also. In the same way, these chetasikas, you should know what are good chetasikas, what are bad chetasikas. If you learn these good and bad chetasikas, you can avoid bad chetasikas. The building material, bad quality building material you can avoid. And using these good quality chetasikas, you can build good chittas, good minds, so that you end up in happiness, you end up in purity, you progress in purification of the mind. So this understanding of what are bad chittas and what are bad chetasikas, mental factors, and what are good chittas and what are good mental factors. So this understanding will definitely help us to cultivate our own mind, to fix our own bad factors, bad mental factors, bad chittas more effectively, more authoritatively, more powerfully. So that is the practical importance of knowing these chittas and chetasikas. Hmm? Then what is the third ultimate reality that we are going to learn in this Abhidhamma, in this superior Dhamma? Abhi means higher, superior Dhamma. It is higher because we go a little deeper into our mind. we thoroughly try to understand the deeper realities of the mind, matter, in meditation classes, in mind-body coordination movements, in different meditation really pertaining to different faculties of the mind. So we are understanding a little bit now. By studying this Abhidhamma, we can understand the mind with much more clarity. Hmm. So that's the reason why this is called superior Dhamma or higher Dhamma, where the clarity becomes more and more clear. The clarity becomes more and more, say, deeper. You'll get a deeper clarity. So in understanding our mind, so that you can purify the mind more authoritatively, so that you can derive the happiness more authoritatively. So the third reality that we are going to learn in this Abhidhamma is the Rupa. Rupa means matter. Hmm? Just like mind, there is something called matter also. Our body is made up of matter. There is a lot of matter in this body. Of course, everything is matter. Of course, mind is also there in this matter, but we can separate this mind and matter. So just like say, mm, so this body, so you can say in the science, you people say this body is made up of cells, and again the cells are made up of proteins, vitamins, and carbohydrates. Mm. So again these proteins, vitamins, carbohydrates, they are made up of molecules, and again these molecules are made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of again electrons, neutrons, protons. In that way you analyze, no? So in the same way, Buddha has analyzed this matter, and that's what is matter in science. But through your mind, you can analyze this body. Through your mind, by sharpening your mind, by sensitizing your mind, you can find out this body, this matter. And Buddha says there are 28 elements that constitute this body. The scientists say there are 110 elements or 120 elements. They say in this periodic table, you may be aware. It's the high school science, high school chemistry or high school physics. All this oxygen, this carbon, this nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, all these things are different elements. So there are some 108 or 110 elements are there. They become molecules, and these molecules, they become different substances that we see, different material things that we see. So all the material, the things that we see, the book, the table, tree, mountain, hill, everything, building, everything is made up of these molecules, atoms, and these elements. There are some 110 elements. That's what we learn in the science. In the same way, God, Buddha, through his supernormal power, of course, we can also sharpen our mind, and we can also find out that this body is made up of, and of course, the external world also, all the matter, external matter, or the body matter, the human body, or the animal body, or the plant body, or any body, or that matter, is made up of 28 elements. Hmm. So that can be observed, that can be found out by meditation again. By the mind becomes very sharp, just like a microscope. In the microscope, in electron microscope, you can find out electrons, you can find out atoms and all. The same way, when the mind becomes very sharp, when you develop the focal length or the sharpness of the mind. So in the microscope, if you increase the focal length and the light, you can see the very small, minute things also. In the same way, if you develop the mental sharpness, you can see how this body is made up of, what are the different elements that constitute this body. So finally, what we can realize is 28 elements, they constitute this body. Four of them are major constituents of the body, and remaining 24 are the minor constituents of the body. So the four major constituents or the elements of the body are earth element. Earth element we can experience because of some solidity in the body, because of some heaviness, because of some hardness. We can experience there is some solidity in the body. That solidity, that hardness, that heaviness, all these things that we can experience in the body, it is the earth element. And we can see some kind of flowing, some kind of binding. So in the body, that is because of the water element, because the water element, that water element is very much clear in the blood, in the saliva. So because of this water element, which is very much seen in this blood or saliva and all, and other liquids in the body, so there is water also in the body. There is water element also in the body. In the same way, the third element is the fire element. It's called Tejo Dhatu. Water element is called Apo Dhatu. Earth element is called Patavi Dhatu. Prithvi, Patavi, Earth element. So this fire element or this Tejo Dhatu, we can experience some heat, higher temperature, low temperature, coolness. All these things come under the heat element or the Tejo Dhatu. That also we can experience in the body. That is also one of the major elements. Primary elements, they are called primary elements. These four are called Mahabhutas. Bhuta means element. So these four are called Mahabhutas, primary elements: earth element, water element, fire element, and Vayo. Vayo means air element. We can experience some kind of air. The lungs, they take air element. We inhale and exhale, that we practice in our anapana. So because of this air, we can have that lightness in the body. We can experience some kind of emptiness because of the air element. So all these experiences because of air element. So that we experience that there is one meditation called four elements meditation that previously I used to introduce in level 2 itself. But now in level 2, it will become too much. So I introduce this four elements meditation in level 3. There you experience these different four elements of the body: earth element, water element, fire element, and air element, and its different characteristics you can experience in the body, like this heaviness, hardness. All these things are the characteristics of the solidity, earth element. Some flowing, some binding that we can experience in the because of the water element in the body. Some heat and cold we experience because of the heat element or Tejo Dhatu, fire element in the body. And we experience some kind of lightness, some kind of emptiness, some kind of freeness in the body. That is because of air element. So in that way, by experiencing the different characteristics of these four elements in the body, we can understand, we can actually discern, we can find out the four elements in the body. So that we are going to learn in level 3 about these different characteristics of all these four elements and how to experience this in the body. And it is one beautiful meditation again. So that is the third ultimate reality that we are going to learn in this Abhidhamma. That is called Rupa, or it can be called as matter in English, the physicality, the substantiality. So that is what is the third ultimate reality that we are going to learn in Abhidhamma. What is the fourth reality that we are going to learn in Abhidhamma? The fourth ultimate reality that we are going to learn in Abhidhamma is by cultivating the mind, by correctly understanding this matter and mind, we can transcend beyond this matter. We can transcend this mind also. We can transcend this matter also. The mind becomes subtler and subtler and subtler and subtler. At one fine point of time, it completely transcends the mind also. And that stage of sharpness, that stage of sensitivity, when the mind becomes completely pure, and attachment to body, attachment to the mind and mental factors, you can transcend, you can overcome all these attachments, and you can become completely free from this body and mind, this mind and matter. You can be completely free from this mind and matter. No mind, no matter can attach to you. And that state of mind, also we can't say. That state is Nibbana. In one place, I think Venerable Sariputta Bhantya, one very, very great monk, one of the great disciples of Buddha, he explains Nibbana as, I don't see any being. I can see only this Nibbana, and these the so-called beings are or actually it is very temporary. Only Nibbana is permanent. Some people, they go away from the Nibbana and they become beings and they suffer in this worldliness. And some wise people, they simply let go the things and they enter into Nibbana. And I don't see anything other than this Nibbana, which is really substantial. There is nothing substantial in this existence other than Nibbana. All other things are very, very temporary, are very, very effervescent. Simply some people, out of ignorance, they create body and mind. Some wise people, they detach from the body and mind. They go towards Nibbana. They will be in the Nibbana. They are Nibbana. So the state where there is no body and mind, where the being has transcended body and mind, that state is called Nibbana. Nirvana means no attachment, no entangling. Vana means entangling, like jungle. We say no. Vana means we say jungle. Jungle means entanglement. So many creepers, so many trees, so many things are simply messed up. That is what is entangling. So because of our attachment to this body and mind, a lot of entangling will happen in the mind. Once you have body, once you have mind, lot of desires, we want that, we want this, and very next moment some other desire will arise. In that way, a lot of mess we create because of that, our attachment to this body and mind. Once you keep on disentangling this, freeing this, and overpower or transcend this body and mind, then you end up in what is called Nibbana. So that state of non-attachment towards the body and mind, that very state is Nibbana, that Nirvana, where there is no, Nir means no, Vana means entangling, where there is no entangling, that state is called Nirvana or Nibbana. That's what we are going to learn in this chapter of Nibbana. So that is about the four ultimate realities that we are going to learn very authoritatively, very clearly in this Abhidhamma. Okay, I think this much is enough for today. If you have some questions also, maybe we can, because now our coordinators slowly they're increasing the timing of our these Sunday classes. I told them just make it 45 minutes somehow with some liberality. So he made it 9:50 minutes, 9 to 9:50. And today, our I think one more coordinator, she made it 9 to 10. So earlier it was 9 to 9:45. It became 9 to 9:50. Now it is 9 to 10. But anyway, it's okay. 5-10 minutes, it doesn't matter. So some 5 minutes. If you have some questions on these four ultimate realities that we are going to learn in Abhidhamma, and how it is useful in our meditation, and how it is useful to free our mind, how it is useful to develop our overall intelligence so that we can come out of this entanglement. And what else? How we can apply this panya, this buddhi, or this intelligence to understand our own mind, to understand our own body, so that we can come out of this body and mind. That is the very purpose of studying Abhidhamma. By studying Abhidhamma, we should develop the intelligence to know our own body and mind. We should know our own body and mind. So through this knowledge of Abhidhamma and knowledge of meditation, the authoritative or experiential knowledge that you gain through meditation, that should help us to transcend from this entanglement and to get more and more freeness, more and more freedom, more and more liberation. So which will help us in getting a superior mind, superior health, superior happiness. So that is the very purpose of this Abhidhamma classes. Okay, now there are some questions.
Bante.
One second, there are some questions. I will take your questions a little later. I will just finish off these some 4 or 5 questions which are sent in this chat box. Okay, such a difficult subject explained so beautifully. We are grateful, Venerable Banteji. Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Thank you, Banteji. Very grateful to have participated today. Sadhu, sadhu. Banteji, can we have details about the book you referred? This is the name of this book is A Manual of Abhidhamma by A Manual of Abhidhamma, translated by Narada, Venerable Narada Bante, and it is written by Aniruddhacharya. Just text it in the Google, you will get it very easily. You will get it. A manual of Abhidhamma by Narada Bhante. That is good enough. There are so many versions are there. You can easily soft copy also. You can get hard copy also. You can get.
Thank you, Bhante.
Undami Bhanteji, Undami, very much grateful. Undami Bhanteji. Okay. Okay. Now you can ask your questions.
Bhanteji.
Yes, Upasakji, boli.
Bhanteji, Nama and Rupa, that is chitta, chetasika, and Rupa are subject to change. That is what we had heard. Except for Nibbana, everything changes continuously.
Correct.
So, but you have mentioned that these are ultimate realities. So,
Correct.
do they not change?
Very good. This is also a good question. Being an ultimate reality, again, there is a confusion. Some people say only Nibbana is ultimate. Again, in ultimate, there are two kinds of ultimate. See this chitta, chetasika, rupa. They are there. Chittas are there everywhere, and their function and their constitution is same everywhere. But when you are in the process of transcending chitta and chetasika, then you can keep away chitta and chetasika and you can just be in the state of nibbana. That's what the arhants do. That's what the Buddhas do. But when you are in the worldliness, these things, this chitta, chetasika, and rupa, they remain as such. But when it comes to non-worldliness or beyond worldliness or lokuttara, it's called lokuttara. Loka means world. Lokiya means in the worldliness. In the worldliness, a few things are stagnant, a few things are eternal, a few things will not change its form. See, as I was giving you the example of the table can change the form. A table can become a plank, a table can become ash, a table can become charcoal. But a chitta, if you, whatever burning you do, whatever cutting you do, chitta will remain as a chitta only. A chetasika will remain as a chetasika only, whatever cutting, whatever burning, whatever you can't do at all. So in the worldly ultimate realities are these three, chitta, chetasika, and rupa. Non-worldly or supramundane, it's also called supramundane. Mundane means worldly. The mundane realities are these three, chitta, chetasika, and nibbana. And the supramundane reality is chitta, chetasika, and rupa are the mundane realities. The supramundane reality is nibbana, where you have to transcend the worldliness to realize that supramundane reality. When you are in the worldliness, with all your intelligence, with all your sharpness, you can see the ultimate realities of rupa, ultimate realities of chitta, ultimate realities of chetasika. But you have to learn how to transcend these things, then only you can see the ultimate reality of nibbana. So the difference here, coming to your question, chitta, chetasika, rupa are the mundane ultimate realities. Nibbana is the supramundane ultimate reality. So ultimate realities are two kinds: mundane ultimate realities, supramundane ultimate realities. We are going to learn both mundane ultimate realities and supramundane ultimate reality in Abhidhamma. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhante.
Hello, Bhanteji. Just one question based on what you just said. So, do we undergo Sorry?
Your name?
Ramya.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so based on what you just said, do we undergo transformation through Chitra, Chetasika, and Rupa? Do we cultivate them to attain Nirvana? Or is it something that you directly...
It is transcending. You have to transcend Rupa, you have to transcend Chitta, you have to transcend Chetasika. Then you remain in Nibbana. Your video is on, Ramya?
No, my video, I don't have my video right now.
Have you attended our classes, level 1, level 2 classes?
Level 1 I have attended.
When was
this was not very long back, probably 3 months back.
Where are you from?
Hyderabad.
You can understand Hindi?
Yes.
From today, the Hindi level 2 classes will commence.